Welcome to the Explainer. I'm your resident animal behaviorist, and today we're decoding one of the most mysterious yet totally common feline habits out there. Picture this. You're just sitting on the couch, or maybe you're fast asleep, and suddenly your cat pops their head into the room, stares directly at you, and then just leaves. What's actually going on in that furry little head of theirs? Let's find out. It really begs the central question, doesn't it? Why did your cat just check on you? Okay, let's dive into this because the answer is actually way more complex and emotionally loaded than you might think. We're going to break down exactly what your cat is trying to communicate. You see, this whole thing brilliantly illustrates the divide between what we naturally assume and what science actually tells us. The human guess is usually, oh, it's just random curiosity or maybe a casual display of affection. But the behaviorist reality, it's a fascinating, complex mix of evolutionary biology and deep psychological conditioning. Seriously, when you brush off these quick visits, you might actually be missing a profound form of communication. So here's our diagnostic assessment plan for today. First, we'll look at biological drives and territory. Second, decoding human distress signals. Third, the secure base effect. And finally, mirroring and positive reinforcement. Let's get right to it. Section 1. Biological drives and territory, the primal instincts. We've got to start by looking at the cat as a creature of the wild, driven by deep, hardwired survival imperatives. Consider the biological concept of patrolling. Out in the wild, cats are instinctually driven to monitor their territory for absolutely anything that feels off. Well, once a secure bond is formed with you, guess what? You become the single most important part of that territory. So when they stroll into your room, scan the space, and leave, especially during those quiet late-night hours, they aren't just wandering aimlessly. They feel highly responsible for your safety. They're literally executing a security sweep to make sure their most prized asset, that's you, is perfectly fine. Then there's scent marking. This is the biological act of depositing invisible pheromones from glands along their cheeks, their forehead, and the base of their tail. When your cat checks in and rubs against your leg or your hand, we usually just think, oh, how affectionate. But biologically, it's the active renewal of fading territorial claims. Those pheromones don't last forever, you know? Your cat is literally coming back to update the paperwork and say to the rest of the world, yep, this human is still mine. So we can systematically map these cute little feline actions directly to their biological purposes. Walking in, scanning the space, and leaving, that's a strict security sweep. Rubbing against your leg, depositing pheromones. And what about when they aggressively check on you right after you've been outside or, heaven forbid, around other animals? They're actively overriding the unfamiliar sense you brought back with their own. They simply cannot let that slide. Moving on to Section 2. Decoding human distress signals, emotional intelligence. We're moving up the psychological ladder now, going from pure biology to some pretty incredible empathy. Cats possess this acute physiological awareness of their human's internal emotional state. They are incredibly sensitive to subtle changes in your breathing, your posture, and even your voice. I mean, have you ever had a really rough day and your cat just magically appears out of nowhere? They actually read the room before you even consciously realized you were feeling off. When you're stressed, your body language shifts in microscopic ways. You might not notice it at all, but your cat absolutely does. And the literature backs this up beautifully. A study published in the journal Animal Cognition states that cats adjust their behavior based on their owner's emotional expressions, showing more approach behaviors when owners appear distressed. They make a conscious decision to stay close when they sense you're struggling. That quiet little visit during a hard moment isn't them just being nosy. It's them responding directly to your distress signals and offering a quiet, supportive presence. Section 3. The secure base effect, attachment theory. Now, this is where feline psychology gets truly fascinating because it kind of reframes your entire relationship. In the behaviors world, we look at the human owner as the primary psychological anchor for the feline. A landmark 2019 study from Oregon State University, led by researcher Christine Vitale, found that the majority of cats form secure attachments to their owners the same way a child does with a parent. Just think about that for a second. The bond you share with your cat isn't just about providing food and shelter. It is fundamentally similar to a parent-child dynamic. Let's break down exactly how the secure base effect actually plays out in your living room. It's a precise psychological sequence. Step 1. There are long stretches of silence while you're working or reading. Step 2. This silence triggers a quiet, low-level anxiety in your cat. They just need to know you didn't leave them. Step 3. They seek visual confirmation of your presence, which is that classic check-in. And finally, Step 4. Seeing you allows the feline nervous system to completely reset. Your visual presence literally dictates their daily confidence. If they know you're accessible, they feel brave enough to go about their day. Which brings us to Section 4, mirroring and positive reinforcement, learned behaviors. For our final act, we're shifting the focus from the cat directly onto you. Why? Because human responses completely dictate the cat's future actions. Consider the concept of behavioral mirroring. Cats are brilliant social observers. They study your habits, specifically your habit of checking on them. Think about it. You peek into the room where they're sleeping, you glance at them from the couch, you call their name, and they reflect that exact behavior back to demonstrate closeness. Here's the ultimate twist. Your cat didn't just invent the check-in out of thin air. They learned it by quietly watching you check on them for years. Every single check-in they do is essentially an echo of your own care. So the crucial point here is operant conditioning. It's the core rule of behaviorism. A behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. When your cat pops their head into the room, what do you naturally do? You look at them, you say their name, maybe you reach down and offer a quick scratch. They tested the waters, you gave them a reaction, and their brain files that away as a massive victory. Without a single formal lesson, you've taught them that reaching out to you is absolutely worth the effort. Which brings us to how you can actively use this science in your own home. Here are some simple, actionable daily habits you can use for positive reinforcement. First, when they enter the room, consciously look at them, say their name out loud, provide a gentle touch or a scratch, and maintain warm, affectionate eye contact. By consistently rewarding these check-ins with these really small positive actions, you actively strengthen their secure attachment and deeply reinforce that feline-human bond. Which leads us to our final thought. They learn to check on you by watching you check on them, and they continue to do it because you happily reward them for it every single time. So, I have to ask, who is really training who here? The next time your cat walks into the room just to stare at you for 3 seconds before walking away, I want you to remember this explainer. You are their territory, you are their secure base, and you are, without a doubt, their absolute best student. Keep observing, keep rewarding, and I'll see you next time.